Rafa Benitez with us on Monday Night Football, a man who has won pretty much everywhere he's been. It's an amazing haul of trophies. Let's remind ourselves of what he has won. Oh, well, the two La Liga titles at Valencia to start with, UEFA Cup there, then the move to Liverpool, of course, the Champions League, that extraordinary season 2005 and then 6. And then moving to Inter, winning there, and back with Chelsea, and in Italy again with Napoli. But does the 2005 Champions League win stand out, Rafa, above all else?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, always to win the league. No, here it's, oh, we cannot win the Premier League, but we won the league. To win the league with Valencia, it was quite difficult against Madrid, Barcelona, Deportivo, Atletico Madrid. And you have to be consistent. But the emotion, what it means to win a trophy like a cup, in this case the Champions League, and the way that we won the Champions League was massive. So I have every time that I met, well, not every time, but a lot of time when I met Liverpool fans, they say it was the best night of my life. And so hopefully my wife cannot hear me, so they say that all the time. It's every single day, everybody remembered this game because it was a massive trophy and the way that we won.
It was certainly one of the best nights of Jamie's life, wasn't it? And you've been waiting a long time to have this conversation, I think, with Rafa on television. We want really to go into blow-by-blow detail of what happened in the build-up, what happened that night.
I think the interesting thing is people may think this is a game we've spoke about a lot or as a team. I've never spoke to Rafa about this game because there's one game a season that no team ever analyses, and it's the last game of the season. Whether it's your last league game, the FA Cup final, the Champions League final, everyone goes on holiday the next day. You start the next season and you don't sort of go through the video like you would do every other game that season. So that's why it is always different. Now, the first thing I want to ask Rafa is really, this team never played together before that game and never played together after that game, those actual personnel. And the big surprise on the day was Harry Kewell playing. What was your actual thinking in picking that team? Because there's no doubt, I think it was a big surprise to all of us in the dressing room.
You know, I had a lot of confidence in Harry because people were criticising him because he was injured all the time. But no, because his quality, he's very good left foot, good in the air, good pace, good ability, good shot. So he could do a lot of good things here. He could hold the ball. And so in this position, that he can give some time to the wingers to go and these things, I think he was a key player.
So can I just say, I don't mean that by being
disrespectful to him. Yeah, no, I know.
What I mean by that is that actually not having Haman in there and putting Gerrard and Alonso. What was the thinking to go more
the idea
offensive?
was to use, obviously, Xavi and Stevie. So the quality of these two players with this one, that he could hold the ball between the lines and give us some time. And I have a lot of, I raised really high Didi Hamann, and obviously he changed the game for us. But the idea was to use two players that he could go forward, he could hold the ball, and he will give us something more.
But why in this game then? Because throughout the time, we'd always had two sitting midfield players. Stevie Gerrard a lot had played in the number 10 position. A lot of the time it was Biscan because of injuries to Xavi Alonso and Didi Hamann. But we always had two, what we would call sitting players. We had 2 clean sheets against Chelsea in the semi-final. We went to Juventus and kept a clean sheet. It's more, was it more a case because it was a one-off game and not 2 legs, or you thought you had to?
No, obviously it's a game that you have to win. And again, I would say I have a lot of confidence in Harry Kewell because he could score goals, he would be good in the air, he could pass players, so it's totally different to Stevie. Stevie playing higher, maybe he will be more influential for the midfield, but he will be like a striker, and Stevie will go forward. So it was more the idea to use people that they could go forward and score goals. In the end, it was a mistake, not because Harry, it's because the position of Kaká. And in the end, was killing us between the lines behind because Stevie used to go forward.
Didn't you expect that, Rafa, from Kaká?
Yeah, but I thought that we could control him with these two midfielders. But the problem that if we go forward, we were talking today about Ozil behind the midfielders. So Stevie is very offensive, and at this time he was a box-to-box player. So this space behind with the two centre-backs busy with the strikers, it was difficult to manage, and Xavi is not the quickest in this area. So he's
just before you move on, Jamie, so you never played this team before. You announced it 90 minutes before kick-off. Jamie, what was the genuine reaction amongst the players?
There was something I wanted to ask you, Rafa, because you spoke to Stevie the night before the game and told him his position was different. And I was rooming with Stevie, so he spoke to me. So, did you speak to Harry Kewell and tell him before the game he was playing, or did you actually? Because normally
I don't remember. Yeah, maybe because you know that
you didn't tell him.
No, but I
we
don't
told
remember.
Stevie. So as soon as Stevie was playing deep, I knew Didi wasn't playing. I didn't know exactly. No, I think obviously Stevie said Harry Kewell's playing. I'm going deeper, but because maybe it was a shock that Harry Kewell was playing to himself. Is there certain players you speak to before that
normally,
game?
yeah, I like to talk with players sometimes when I make these decisions, but I don't remember if I was talking with Harry, to be fair. But normally you say, I will play this player. Carragher said that I put them in the same room, so when I put the right full back with the right winger, they know that, I want them to talk about the game. So in this case, maybe I was talking with Harry and I was telling him about his position. But mainly, I had a lot of confidence in him because he was a great player.
So how did your thinking change then when it went very wrong very quickly?
No, we made a mistake, with the first one, that we said put the ball high and then we put the ball on the floor and we made a silly foul and then we conceded the first goal. With someone we have to go close and then we were dropping off instead of go close to him. So we made too many mistakes at the beginning against a very good team, obviously.
So, Rafa, you've got, obviously, we have got, I just remember Kaka running at us and these two just making runs down the side. And listen, I couldn't cope. I'm looking for me. I couldn't cope with them two, or certainly me and Sammy Hippier together with Kaka runs. We could not cope and we needed serious help.
If you do that, in the end what happens is that you have the control maybe here, still you don't have the control here, and if they come here, then you cannot control them. If you want to control them, you finish to do that, doing that, and then you are not attacking. So then you have to keep your players here. You have to keep your players here, and then still you have this gap. And this gap was maybe Xavi, but Kaká was a great player, and Xavi is not the quickest. So in the end, we have a big gap here, and we're trying to fix in the second half.
How long into the first half of that game did you think, I've made a mistake, I need to change this?
No, but
system-wise.
It's easy to say that I made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake, and then you can say, oh no, to play Xavi Alonso and Gerrard, it's not a mistake. The mistake is that for the characteristic of the players, he was going forward and he was coming into this space. So in the end, we had the problem because the quality of the other players and what we did on the pitch. Remember that we have Harry also injured.
Yeah, so obviously we should mention that. So there was the injury as well. I think, did Luis Garcia go here and Schmeichel go wide? Yes.
So then remember that Schmeichel was not playing too much, so we were a little bit weaker. So then against a very good team, because they were very good, we started in 20 minutes, we were a little bit weaker. Then we have to start making changes, and then I was talking with you before, 3 minutes before the end of the first half, we were losing 2-0. And I was thinking, okay, what I have to say in English to motivate my players, because my English was not amazing. It's not amazing now, so imagine at this time. Then I was writing my notes, I used to do that, and then we conceded the third goal. I said, now then carry on with the message.
I always talk about half-time. People always ask me, I'm sure they ask you what happened at half-time. I'll give my version of events where I can remember, then maybe Rafa. I just remember coming in and you said your English wasn't fantastic. So instead of maybe explaining to a player he's coming off at half-time, I'm going to make a change, you used to just say shower, if you remember. So he just said Traore, shower. So Jimmy gets changed, goes to shower. The physio was with Finnan in the treatment room. He then comes out and Dave Galley, the physio, said Finnan can't continue. Finnan then goes a bit angry
Wait, Rafa, let him.
Okay, fine.
Well, he comes out. Finnan obviously not too happy. He wants to carry on. It's a Champions League final. And then I just think of you. And then just saying, Finnan, shower, Traore, out the shower. And basically, so this is going, we've only got 15 minutes. Yeah, don't forget, this is coming on. Didi Haman's outside warming up, he's coming on. Are they the right version, yeah?
No, it's similar.
Come on then, what's your...
come on.
No, it's simple. I told Paco Yesterande, my assistant, so be sure that I will talk with them. So Didi has to listen what I will say about the change of formation and then take him out to do the warm-up. So Didi was there. We were explaining, and I didn't remember that I said Jimmy shower. then he has to go, and I wanted to play 3 at the back, and Carragher will be here. So the reality, we will have...
yeah, so Traore would have been out and Finnan
Yeah.
would have been, one of the,
So, something like that. No, forget about Traore. That was the idea, with Didi Hamann in the middle, obviously.
Yeah, okay.
So what happened is that then when I finished, I was explaining everything, and I finished, and then I was walking around, and then Dave told me, Finnan cannot play 45 minutes. So he could play, but not 45 minutes. And then I thought, oof, one substitution, that Harry Kewell, the other one will be Hamann, so we are losing 3-0, I cannot change anything. Then quickly I changed, and then I put the Traore. Now, what happened when I put Traore on the left?
Did they change, Jamie? That's it.
That there was...
So you can tell this was a really organised half-time, wasn't it? 3-0 down.
No, but everything was in my head. I'm talking with Paco, say, be sure that Didi do a proper warm-up, but I want to explain the way that we will play to have more control over Kaká. That will be, in theory, he will be here. So with Didi, that is more a holding midfielder, we'll have more control. That was fine. Then I was thinking, oh, we have a gap here on the right, because then I was thinking about Cissé on the right.
Yeah,
remember
that's
that?
another thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Cissé thought he was coming on. Did you put 12 men on the board?
No, I didn't put Luis. Then I put Cissé,
okay.
but I didn't put Luis. And then they said, oh, we have 12. We are missing Luis. Okay, fine. But that, you were asking me before, how long, no? How much time you have?
Yeah.
So you go there, you start talking, you make the substitutions, you go and you see the physio, and the physio is saying, and then you have to adjust another thing. So it's so complicated, and at this time, 3-0 down against them.
Rafa, sorry, I just want to ask you something, because people always ask me, did you believe at half-time?
Did you?
Actually, no, I didn't believe we were going to win the league.
I will ask you one question. Did you hear the fans
in
singing
the
half-time?
Yeah. It wasn't. People say, "Oh, we heard the fans," as if it was. It was almost like
I didn't hear
something.
The fans. I didn't hear the fans.
No.
No.
You were telling people to go in the shower. That's why.
No, but that was the point. But then, normally I'm so focused. I have one game and I passed my father, my mother and my sister. I didn't see them. I passed like that. We were losing 1-0 in Real Madrid in the academy. So I am so focused on that. I couldn't hear the fans. So
what I want to ask you about that is, because if you actually think about it, we've gone to a back 5, if you like, from a back 4. And we brought Didi Hamann on, who was a holding midfield player. Yes, you want to come back into the game, but was there a fear for you as the manager, and certainly me as a player, that this was going to be 5 or 6-0? Was that ever in your thinking about the actual change?
I was... You know that if you put like that now, so 3 against 2 in defence, so you have the control here. You have the control of Kaká. So what I was saying all the time, let me move Sido, that is a little bit lazy. So it's where they are weak. That is the main thing. Where they are weaker than you with this system, in the wide areas.
Positions, yeah.
So then you have to be sure that you give width to the team. So you go here, then you have to control, then you come here, you go to the wide areas.
So why didn't you do this at the start?
So, no, obviously you had, as you say, we had confidence. We were playing 4 at the back. We played one game, 5 at the back, that was against Juventus.
Away.
And you know why? Because Alonso was injured for 3 weeks, 3 months, sorry. 3 months. Back. Then he was the first game coming back. They have 2 strikers, Ibrahimovic and Del Piero.
And they had Nedved
coming inside. Then I said, okay, we put Xavi. And then I said to Xavi, you stay there. So we played 5-3-1-1. We didn't play this system. And we were really, really good. We controlled the game. We won 2-1 and then we drew. Fine. So we changed depending on the players that you have and the other team. In this case, obviously my mistake was, okay, I trust my players. We will play with Alonso, Gerard, blah, blah, blah. And after that is, you have to adjust to the other team. You have to react. And as a manager, you have to get the best from your players. That is what we did at this time. So people, they talk about, this is my style. I will not change my style. So it depends on the other team. Sometimes you can keep your style. Sometimes you have to adapt because your job is to get results at the end.
Okay, so the change in formation, it works brilliantly. We're now controlling their front 2. A lot more DDs on Kaká, nullifying that to a certain extent. Stevie's actually causing huge problems, him and Lewis behind the, Milan Barros. Yeah. The goals go in, okay, that happens in that 6 minutes, but As the games then develop, what was your thought process from the bench?
No, I think we had the control, and I was watching the game later on, and we were much better than them. From these changes, we were lucky with the chance that Jersey did a great save, but we had the control of the game. We were much better than them.
Was this a problem for you when, or maybe you had to change it?
That was a big.
Serginho come down the left.
I said, talking about that with Ancelotti, he made the right substitution because they needed to come this way, and we have Smith. Yeah. Then what we did is to move Gerrard.
Yeah.
Because he had the legs to defend here, and still he had the legs to go forward. So in the end, he did really well. Carlo did really well, and I think that our reaction was quite good because I remember a tackle of Stevie at the bottom that was amazing. So all these kind of things, it depends on the passion of your players. Sometimes you are really tired, and still you can do it. I don't see Smith doing that. So I could see Stevie doing that. It's like when you go on the floor and you have cramps and then still you are fighting. So it depends on the character of your players. And we won the final, not because that is part of the success at the end, is because the character of the players.
Combination. So we obviously got to extra time. I think Djibril Cissé come on for Barros. I think you never say it, but I think all of us were thinking if we can get to penalties, hopefully Cissé could do something on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
Maybe as you get to extra time. But I just want to get to penalties, and people speak a lot, and rightly so, about practicing penalties, and certain players know when they're going to take a penalty. If you actually look at the penalties, we took 4 penalties, 3 substitutes took penalties, and 3 of them scored. The one who missed was John Annalise, who played the full 120 minutes. So I actually think that is thinking on your feet. Was that the plan? As a manager?
I was talking with Jamie about that. We had control of the penalties, but there's something that we were doing 20 years ago. No, well, in this case, 40 years ago. When I was in Spain watching the telly, I was taking notes of the penalties in Argentina, in Brazil. So any country, any game, I was taking notes and putting a computer in the database. Then we had the penalties. So Chotorena, the goalkeeping coach, Carra was doing the groveler movements, telling the groveler movements to Jersey, but he knew over 5 of the penalty takers, only Thomasson, we didn't have penalties. The others, we had the penalties. So I say, when I was a player, I was not taking too many penalties, obviously, but I take a couple of them. And then when you were walking, you see the keeper bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger when you are getting closer. And then you say, I don't want to miss the penalty. So I will take the penalty here because it's where I will take the penalty. So you know, as a manager of the other team, as a keeper, you know where the penalty will go. So if you go to this side, you have 80% of chances to make a save. We won the Champions League and people say, oh, you were lucky. No, we did it because we had more control of that. But the year after, we won the FA Cup because the same thing with another keeper. Why? Because the goalkeeping coach, they were doing their jobs, and we have all the... Now you have the TV, and they put, they take the penalty here, they miss the penalty. But we had this at this time. That was, for me, when we talk about the 45 degrees, details, little things can make a massive difference.
Mm. And it led to that, those incredible scenes that we all witnessed. So we've talked about it, everyone talks about it as one of the greatest finals that's ever been. How much... Then do you still look back on that with that real sense of satisfaction because of the changes that you made, the way that you managed to get Liverpool back in the game? Yeah,
but not just for this game, because I think people are wrong. We won against Olympiacos, and I remember the other day reading Melo saying, oh, Rafa didn't say anything, I scored a great goal. So we won against Olympiacos 1-0 down. We needed to score 3 goals, and we did it. But after we played against Bayer Leverkusen, but especially Juventus was a massive game. And Chelsea, what we said before, was a team that was winning the Premier League easily, and we beat them. They talk about, and I will say that, because they say, oh, the goal of Luis Garcia. If it's not goal, it will be red card for Peter Cech. So we will play against 10 players all the time. So we won against Juventus, that was a massive team. We won against Chelsea, and we won the final against AC Milan. And you see the players, and you put the Juventus...
It's like a world 11, isn't it? We were talking about this earlier.
They were so good, and Juventus was so good that you have to give credit to these players, not to this one, but to these players. Mm-hmm. Have to give credit to them, because it's not just a tactical change. It's so many things. This team, they have character. They have real character.
I'm just thinking of, you know, from a manager's point of view, you've managed lots of games, you've won lots of games, you lose games, that's football. Is there sometimes games you look back at and you think that you had more of an influence on the game? Sometimes you pick a team, they play really well, okay, fantastic, but considering the problems you had in the first half, do you sometimes look at that and think, okay, it never worked in the first half, but the changes we made at half-time is actually something you look back on personally and think, no, that's it. I know it's a big game because Liverpool, we won the Champions League, but in terms of actually your impact and what you did and the changes you made?
No, in this game, for sure. It's not that, oh, you are a genius because you made these changes. In this case, was fine, was good, and it was the best final ever in terms of emotion. You have done this in a lot of games, but sometimes you as a manager, you make mistakes. You make the wrong substitutions or the wrong decisions, and still you can win the game. So that is football, that is not 1 + 1 always 2. So in this case, we did something that was right. But I have a lot of games that I was making mistakes, so, but this is football in the end.
Look at that, Carragher. Bit special.
I know, never on the pitches. I was at the back stretching my calf.
I'll ask you a serious question,
Semi.
Rafa. I'll ask you a serious question, because we sort of joke about his influence, and you know, Steven Gerrard gets a lot of credit and praise, but you talk about character. How much comes from Jamie Carragher?
No, a lot of character for sure. I put him. You were asking me before. No, I was
asking you quietly when he wasn't listening.
Yeah, I know. He didn't realise. So I put him as a centre back because he's a talker. He was always talking. No, I know. It's a perfect job for him. So he was bringing people. He was giving advice, shouting sometimes. But you need someone here. That we had later on. We had Pepe Reina. People say, "Oh, Rafa was ruthless because he changed Dudek." But I think you will agree, Pepe Reina was another level. Yes. So Pepe Reina was managing all the defenders and was helping all the defenders. Carragher was doing the same with the midfielders. So you need this kind of players, and later on was Lucas or Mascherano moving Gerrard higher when we had Torres. So you had a team with players with character, that they could pass information and they could shout if they needed to shout, or they could help if they needed to help. So that was one of the keys of this time. We won 4 trophies, we were in 3 finals. It's because we have a team that little by little they have more players with character.
All right, we're going to get through some of your questions now. We're not going to be here forever tonight. Don't worry, you can go to bed shortly. Just want to get through some more points though. Rafa, your favourite Liverpool memory besides Istanbul?
You have to talk about when you win trophies. The FA Cup maybe is one of the best, because in the end you think about that. No, you have the frustration of the Carling Cup the first year. You have the frustration of the final, even the World Cup that we lost in Japan. But the good memories for me, maybe the FA Cup, winning in Old Trafford 1-4 when they said I was cracking up, and then we won 11 from 11 games. We won 10, and one of these games, I don't know if I told you, but I remember we were in the coach arriving to Old Trafford, and was a father with his son, and he has a big banner saying Rafa is cracking up, and then we beat them 1-4. And when Ferguson wanted to change players, it was too late because we scored the 3rd goal. He has to make the substitutions of the quality players, and it was too late. This is another game that, as a manager, we were talking about to go to behind Vidic with Torres, and was right. So these kind of games is not just because you win, it's the way that you win.
Is it sometimes, Rafa, you're talking about the memories, I think big ones for us that weren't trophies was probably the semi-finals against Chelsea, and there's a huge rivalry there. Do you as a manager, you know, a top manager, Jose Mourinho, exactly the same, top managers, you know, when you go into them games, is there something extra riding on it because you're coming up against, as you say, Alex Ferguson or Jose Mourinho? Does it feel a bit sweeter when you come out on top in those games?
Maybe sometimes you can think about that, but the reality is, with your experience, you can see that it's not depending on you. Sometimes it's just the team that you have in front of you. They are better players, and then the other manager, sometimes doing nothing, they can beat you. So it's not that it's personal, you have to beat them. So you want to beat anyone. But in this case, it's, as you say, we were fighting with Chelsea all the time, even Manchester United, but especially Chelsea, we had, I think, 17 games against them. So we were fighting every competition we were there. Then you want to win, but the reality is that you know that it depends on the players. So then you say, okay, we won this game, fine. We lost this game, fine. But this the football, because it's not my first game in Spain with Extremadura was against Barcelona, and then You say, okay, Van Gaal was the manager. Oh, Van Gaal this, Van Gaal. Then you lose the game 1-0, and it still is a great game, but you lose the game. So it's not the manager of the other team, it's the team. They don't realise that it's the team.
Let's take another question. It's on tactics. How did you feel when the likes of Gary Neville, who's not here tonight, as you noticed, Rafa, criticised you constantly for negative tactics at Newcastle when playing the likes of Manchester City?
Yeah, I think I never lost any game here. So I can organise the team, and I will win. So it's difficult to go there and then be a coach, be a manager, and then make decisions. Then what is a good manager? You can get the best from your players. You can adapt and you can win. You can win games or you can win trophies. So I try to do that. When you have won in 3 different countries, not with the top sides, because if you analyse, Liverpool was not a top side when I came. Valencia was not a top side. Napoli was not a top side. So you can win with these teams. It means that as a coach, you are doing a job. Then people from outside, talking about, in this case, Newcastle United, we finished 10th. The story about Newcastle United is they were relegated or nearly relegated when we were there. We decided to stay, and the fans, they love that, the commitment that we showed. We finished 10th with a team that was new in the Premier League. We finished 13th, so the second year. This is the 3rd year of Newcastle United. So for 2 years, you have to bring the best from your players. Playing 4 in the back, we have problems. We play 5 at the back, we were compact, and with Almiron, we finished 7th in the second part of the league. Why? Because we could go forward. So then you have to get the best from your players. That's it. And that is
Rafa, can I ask you something about yourself and probably Jose now has just come into Spurs, and we say football's moved on, or people, it's more expansive now. So we're analysing Monday Night Football, talking about Newcastle. Your idea of football, people say, oh, the game moves on, or coaches have to move with the times. Is your idea of football still the same as when you started? Would that ever change, or would you think I might need to change to get the big job in England again, or whatever club?
No, we analyse. I'm lucky enough to have good staff, and for years we analyse. You say we don't analyse the last game of the season. I'm telling you, we analyse the last game.
I'm not meant as a team.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But we play against Beijing the other day, and we have already analysed the game. So we are preparing.
I'm talking about the style of
I know.
Playing from the back.
What I say is we analyse the games, we are updated in the software and everything, and we try to think, okay, I had a conversation with Paco de Miguel, my assistant, 1 week before to leave. Maybe next year we have to play 4-3-3, because in China, if you have this, then you can go with the wingers, blah, blah, blah. So obviously we analyse the league, we analyse the rivals, we analyse the level of our team, and then we make decisions depending on that. So in Real Madrid, we have more possession, we were scoring more goals. In Liverpool, we play against Real Madrid, we were on top of them all the time. But Newcastle United, in the 2nd division, we were at the top. In the Premier League, you have to defend a little bit more, and also now, because football, as you say, people, they talk about expansive football and possession. Then the other teams, they have the possession, and then maybe 40% of the teams, they will have more possession than you, even if you want to keep the ball.
How many touches does it take to score a goal now? You were telling us earlier.
No, we have been analysing in the Premier League last year, and now in the Chinese league. So you score 25% of the goals with 3 touches maximum, and 25% of the goal with 7 touches maximum. So that is 50% of the goals. If you put around 25% on set pieces, so imagine what means that. So people say, oh, we have to give 10 passes. Some teams, they can do it. But if you want to be successful, Liverpool, even Manchester City, what they do? They pass. When they give the ball away, they regain the ball and they score. So it's not too many touches, then you are more successful. And then you have the stats, 70%, 30%, and then you lose. 68 and you lose. So you have a lot of games. And I don't say that you don't need to keep the ball. Yes, you have to keep the ball. But why you have to take the risk always in defence when in the end you have to finish there?
I just want to ask you, you see a lot of young coaches now, or teams playing, they play out from the back. Do you think a lot of that is actually they feel like they have to be seen as someone who plays football?
It's very clear. It's very clear. So you were asking me the question. You have the TV. You have to sell, expansive football, attacking football, all these things. Then if you don't do that, it's like you will not get a job.
Yeah.
Or they will think that I'm negative. No, listen, you are a coach, you are a professional, you have to get the best from your players, and you have to win. You have to win games, and you have to win trophies. So you don't need to please someone else that wants to stay there and enjoy football, because normally the teams that win trophies, they concede less goals. We're talking about Leicester. Leicester is amazing. They don't concede goals. It's not that they score more goals. They don't concede goals. You can win games scoring goals. So 3-0, the fourth and the fifth doesn't count. 1-0, you win the game and you can win a trophy. Leicester was the example, winning the league with 1-0 all the time. So a lot of times. Then you have to understand that you are paid to get the best from your players, to be sure that you are successful. And now, when you play Champions League, means 50 million, 60 million. So the owners will say, I want to guarantee that I can win. And some people will say, oh, we want to play expansive football. Yes, fine, but you have to win. So it's not expansive football. You have to win, because your job is depending on what you get from your players. And the players, and I have this situation when I was in Valencia, when I was in Extremadura, the players, they are not happy with that. Sometimes, oh, listen, we are working on the tactics. But after, and then you are here and not disapprove, after they say, okay, I was learning a lot. Now I'm a much better player. So I had one player in Newcastle telling me, hopefully, I'm really disappointed that I didn't have you as a coach 3 years ago. Because they are learning, because you are trying to explain things and to get the best from them, but not just telling them you have to do that. You have to understand why you have to do that. So you have to understand, okay, this is my position. Why? Because he's left-footed, and then I have to do this or that. It's not that, okay, you stay in this position. My Chinese players, if I am telling them you have to do this, they will do it. But my challenge is to be sure that they understand why. So you are here talking about tactics, and everybody can see that you know and you understand why. You have had Olier or me or a lot of managers, no? You know all of them. Different things. You are picking things from everyone, and you are much better now than when you were a player. So would you like to play now with 18 years old? You will be a much better player for sure, because you have the understanding of the game that you didn't have at this time.
Fascinating, the Rafa Masterclass. Just time for one more quick question. And it is on Steven Gerrard. How do you think he will do in his managerial career? Have you been keeping an eye on him?
Yeah, I was in contact with him sometimes. I think he's doing well already. Disappointed, no, they said that the goal that they concede. But,
do you think he'll be successful?
Yeah, I think so. I think he likes football. So he knows better than me, because he was with him all the time in the hotels talking about football. But he likes football. He has passion. I think he's someone that he's honest. So I think he will be fine. What means that? It means that he will win a lot of trophies. You never know, because the margin is very short now. So just one team. Why they fire so many managers? Because everybody's spending a lot of money. Just one will win the league. Just one will win the Champions League. So Stevie will be a good manager. I think so. He's already a good manager. Can he win trophies? Can he be successful in a long time? You never know, because also it's like you have Messi and Ronaldo. Oh, fantastic, yeah, but Messi is here and then Ronaldo is here. So in mind that great man that is there, he cannot win. So if Gerrard has another team like Manchester City or Liverpool at this time, that they are much better than you, you can be second. You can be second. That doesn't mean that you are worse as a manager. You can be really good manager, but you finish second anyway.
Rafa, it's been an absolute pleasure and an education listening to you tonight.